In the spring of 2021, career car salesman Tom Randall lay dying in his Linfield home. Only he wasn't really Tom Randall. He was Ted Conrad, a bank robber from Cleveland, a fugitive for more than 50 years. In his final days, Tom Randall unloaded his secret to his devoted daughter.
Did you feel angry? Did you feel betrayed?
I felt angry that he never thought he could tell us because we were so close. He said, you know, I had wanted to. He's like, but what if you didn't think about me the same way anymore? Or what if you didn't love me when you found this out?
We are here to celebrate Tom's life and share our grief together at his passing.
When Tom Randall died a month later, his memorial was packed.
Oh, they loved him. Everybody loved him. At his funeral, one of the guys said, if you didn't like Tom Randall, you have a problem. Because that's the kind of guy he was. Personable, sweet, kind.
Randall's good friends, David Sensulo and Frankie Del Tordo, first met him when they worked together at local car dealerships.
He was the total opposite of a car salesman.
They say Tom's refined, calm demeanor stood out in their rough and tumble trade.
We had fist fights in the showroom, customers
competition,
screaming.
like he wasn't a hustler. He seemed just content.
Not the case on the golf course, where Tom Randall dominated for years. The men had a weekly match at Sagamore Springs Golf Club in Linfield.
It was totally different. He was the
it.
leader.
He never lost. He'd be teeing off. He smoked cigarettes like a chimney.
While he's playing.
He put a butt in his mouth. He'd get right up there, bang, and bomb it, 300. Yeah, it didn't faze him at all.
Meanwhile, a few months after the funeral, Ashley and her mom heard a knock at the door.
I was up in my bedroom and my mom came in and she's like, it's happened. And I said, oh my God, who died now? Like, cause I was like, what now? Who's died? And she said, the marshals are here.
And then on the way downstairs, I heard her say, you know, maybe I should have an attorney. And I said, well, look, we're not here for you, but I believe your husband was somebody else.
U.S. Marshal Pete Elliott grew up in a household where the name Ted Conrad would frequently come up at the family dinner table.
You know, your father said, you know, pass some mashed potatoes, and when am I going to get Ted Conrad?
You see, Pete Elliott's late father was also a U.S. Marshal in Ohio. John Elliott worked the Conrad case for decades, obsessed with catching this brazen thief.
What do you think it was about this case that so fixated your dad?
Anger. And I think my dad was angry that Conrad was able to get away with this, with all that money right in his backyard.
In fact, even after his retirement in 1990, the elder Elliott would routinely stop by the marshal's office in Cleveland to go over the Conrad files with his son.
Again, I grew up with this 50 years, and my father always, you know, we always pictured, you know, Conrad on an island with all that money and with the gold and everything he ever wanted in life and fast cars and so on. And when I got in that, you know, fairly small house in Linfield, Mass., I looked around and I saw bill after bill after bill stacked up, the most bills I've ever seen in my entire life.
Instead of finding a lavish lifestyle funded by ill-gotten gains, the U.S. Marshal from Ohio found instead here a heartbroken family, crushed by a mountain of medical debt, any trace of the stolen money, long gone.
It sounds like at some point from that first visit on, that you viewed their position with some genuine empathy. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I believe in many ways they were victims. Here's a guy that left them broke with no money and with last names that are not really theirs.
So where did all the money go? Well, no one really knows. Randall lived in Boston for a number of years after the robbery in a waterfront apartment. But little is really known about what he was doing or how he may have spent the money. What is known is that by the time he met his wife, Kathy, in the late 70s, any traces of personal wealth were gone. Coming up, in hindsight, were there clues?